What are your thoughts on Walker Kessler being an all-star as part of the Rising Stars game? What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously, a great achievement. I think no one expected this out of Walker Kessler right out of the gate. But again, I'm going to continue to say it every day if I have to. The improvement in the developmental staff in this organization is impressive. And I think, Travis Scott issue aside, I think from a basketball perspective, the Jazz are doing a great job. I mean, I think the front office deserves a lot of credit. I think, David Fizdale, again, somebody who flies pretty much under the radar. You don't really hear about him a lot. Well, you're hearing about him when you watch Walker Kessler play. And I think, I think you're seeing Walker Kessler's athleticism come to life, like right in front of your eyes. And yeah, I think, I would expect Walker Kessler to get some decent run in this Rising Stars game. And I love to see, I will enjoy seeing how he stacks up against the other talent in that game, because that is quite literally the best talent, the best young talent anyway, rookies and sophomores in the league. And I think there's a lot of dynamic names in that game, and I'm pleased that Walker Kessler is included because I think he deserves it. And I think, we get caught up in like the Bancheros of the world or like all the boys in Houston or like all these guards and wings. We love those guys, and I love them too. Nothing against them. But yeah. Walker Kessler, a big, getting into that game, I think is really important.
Yep. Brett Burnett says, hit the like button. It helps the chat. Yeah, let's go. Hit the like button, casuals. We've had well over 1,200 views now on the show this morning. We have 59 likes. Please hit the like button. I'm begging. Please. Oh, please. Come on, man. I'm kidding. Hit the like button. We love it. You guys have really supported the show. Yesterday, by the way, I don't know how many people realize this. Yesterday was the single biggest day this channel's ever had.
Yeah.
Do you guys know that? Yesterday was the single biggest day our channel's ever had, so we appreciate that. Ken Williams, good morning, says Skywalker going to have 5 blocks in the game. I would think
Hope so, dude. Hope so.
I would think so. I'm a huge Walker Kessler guy. I have espoused my love of the Walker. I believe that he should, and I think he will now start every game for the rest of the year. Like, I mean, we've talked about that, I feel like, ad nauseum. I just think he's such an important part of the future.
Yeah.
Because you can see the scalability in him. If he ever picks up a mid-range game, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. He will be and I don't know that he ever has the offensive ability of a guy like DeAndre Ayton comes to mind.
Uh-huh.
He'll never be that guy. He won't. A gifted center like that, he won't. But what he doesn't do offensively, he will make up for with effort because he runs hard. His defense is already better than most people give him credit for. He's able to defend extended. I think he drops to the basket really well. He runs the rim really well. Like, he's a great rim runner. Like, I'm a huge Walker Kessler guy. And I think getting him exposure on a national stage like the Rising Stars game, I think that's a big deal for him.
Yeah.
I do. And hopefully he can stay healthy because that's a tough thing to do when you run at the level he runs. But I'm thrilled for the kid. It's got to be such a
I was trying to find like a player that I feel like he could aspire to be, someone who's got a similar body, someone who has, a relatively similar game. And not that I think he'll get to this guy's level, but I see a lot of similarities in Pau Gasol and Walker Kessler. Defensively, Pau Gasol was really mobile, blocked a lot of shots, but wasn't a real physical guy, right? Like, wasn't that guy that was going to, like, slap you in the face or while he was fouling you, or, like, that wasn't really Pau Gasol, And the thing is that Pau Gasol was dynamic offensively, and that's the big difference between him and Walker Kessler. Kobe has talked about it, and you can find it on YouTube, about how, Pau Gasol's elbow jumper basically, allowed him to win another championship, where Kobe being able to play that pick and pop game and, Pau Gasol being able to rim run the way he did. And, like, I think Walker Kessler could aspire to be what Pau Gasol ended up being, but I think he probably falls short of that, if I'm being honest, because I don't think the modern day player, most guys, and again, I don't know Walker, I'm certainly not trying to bash him, but I think most guys aren't willing to work as hard as you need to work to get to that level.
Yeah.
So but I see Powell as like a guy who is similar to what Walker could be.
I think one of the bigger questions on this team right now is not even Walker Kessler. As we talk Utah Jazz basketball on the Monty Show, presented by Quick Quack Car Wash, I think one of the biggest questions for me is what is Lauri Markkanen? Is Lauri Markkanen a 3 or a 4? Because I think you have got to add depth at the forward spot on this team. I just think it's critical. I think, guys like Colin Sexton, they're going to work themselves out. He's either going to play his way into a spot on this team in the long term or he's not going to be here. But a guy like Lauri Markkanen, as good as he has been, I think you're going to have to eventually figure out, hey, is he your power forward? Because at the level he's playing now, I think he can be your 4. I think he much more translates to a 3 in my basketball sense. Mm-hmm. I would rather have a dominant 3 and go get a 4. And I bring this up because I think the biggest hole on this roster is power forward. And if Walker is your 5, and then if Lauri's your 4, I mean, you in my mind, now that changes what you're looking for this summer or in trade.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to play Lauri Markkanen at the 4 quite a bit, I think that makes it a lot easier to find a superstar because 3s, elite level 3s, whether that's a guy like a Paul George or whoever you want to point to, those guys can be had. Those guys move. Elite level power forwards are much more difficult to find. The physicality, the ability to shoot the 3, the running, the rebounding. I mean, a guy like a Lauri Markkanen has all of that.
Yeah.
Can Walker Kessler be a 4? I don't think so. I think he is a 5. And I think he's a mid-range jump shooter. I think that's what he needs to develop. I would tell him, put on weight and come back to training camp in September, October with a jumper.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think I would play him in Summer League. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't put him there.
And rest him.
I think that you need him to be wholly focused on building his body this summer. And that's why I wonder, if I think he's a 5, I don't think he ever translates to a 4.
Yeah.
I think he's a 5. I think there is a lot more credence. And as you watch Jazz basketball, especially leading up in the next week to the trade deadline, can Lauri Markkanen be a full-time power forward? Because I think that's a really big question for this club.
Yeah.
I think it's a really big question because if Lauri can be a 4, I think the transition, the build is a lot easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree completely.
So Teddy says Kessler is a 5, and if he develops a mid-range game, he will be a beast. Totally agree. Totally agree. Ken Williams says, I want a Collins-type player. Well, I think Lauri Markkanen's a better John Collins. I mean, it is... I think that's a very and Colin Sexton's interesting as well.
Yeah,
because this comment right here, I'm all with you, Macho Man.
Macho Man,
the Macho Man. Oh yeah. I'm not sold on Sexton at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's reason to be sold. I think that he's dealing with this knee. He's had some injuries. You're just working through this season, and that's why I'm telling you guys, dude, we're close now to the deadline. What are we, a week away now or whatever it is? What's
a week from
today?
tomorrow.
I mean, you're
8 days away.
8 days out here. We're starting to progress towards go time with the deadline. And yeah, I think Colin Sexton, I'm not saying that I'm actively looking to trade him, but as you always like to say, if he's that cherry on top piece or he's someone that a team wants or, a team wants to do a deal around him, I'm certainly having that conversation.
Yeah, I think you have to really look closely, and this is why the Dorian Finney-Smith thing is so important. I just don't think Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy of value to this team. What does he bring that you don't already have? Because I don't think he brings much that you don't already have. And I know, and again, I will say it until it happens, I think Dallas is the number 1 suitor for Mike Conley.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are. I think, and I've looked at this a lot. The difference between Dallas and the Clippers on Mike Conley is massive. I think the LA Clippers don't need a point guard. I think they want a point guard.
Yeah.
I think when you have Kawhi and Paul George, and I think you want a point guard.
I want it.
In Dallas, they're thirsty as hell for a point guard.
Yeah, they need it.
They are desperate for a point guard. I think Mike Conley, and I think that's why they like Mike so much. I think he's a guy that could be very, very helpful in Dallas. And I think when I look at Dallas, I think I look at teams that need 3-point shooting, and I start looking around this league, and I look at the Suns and the Bucks trade that I think has a real chance to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Jay Crowder to the Milwaukee Bucks deal has a real chance to go. I really hope the Jazz get a piece of that. That's a trade you want to be part of.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm curious about when it comes to these deals, the Jazz have so many hooks in the water right now. I mean, they have so many conversations happening. How are you going to go about paring those down? And I am convinced the reason they haven't made a deal yet is because they have so many conversations working.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and we've talked a lot about this, when you have guys that are in demand, the Conleys, the Beasleys, the Clarksons, when you have guys that are in demand like that, Kelly Olynyk's in demand. There are people asking about Kelly Olynyk. I'm curious how you leverage all of those assets. Because if I'm the Jazz, I'd trade all three of them. Jordan Clarkson is a guy I think is going to be here for another 8 days. And he may be here through the end of the season. I'm not convinced they want to trade him. In fact, that's not even the right way to say that. Ryan Smith does not want to trade Jordan Clarkson. But I think if Danny can get a first and a second, I think they will move him.
Yeah.
Because they have an offer on a first-round pick for him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't taken it. And I think when you look at the way all of this happens, I think Danny Ainge has got to start making deals. Because to maximize this trade deadline, I think you certainly have to trade Conley and Clarkson.
Mm-hmm.
I think Malik Beasley is 25 years old, and he is still one of the most in-demand players, although this OG Anunoby momentum is real.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of teams.
OG feels like a guy that someone's going to make a mistake on, in the sense that, not that he's a mistake to go and get him, but a mistake like 3 first-round picks. That's a mistake.
You're going to overpay for him.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no doubt about that.
I can't do 3 first-round picks for just OG on his own. Now, you want to give me, OG and a first, OG and a bench player, that type of deal. Okay, now that kind of justifies it. But I'm not doing 3 and OG on his own. With all the love to OG, like, he's a great player and everything. But I think and again, this is the anxiety that I've shared with you guys about Danny Ainge for a minute now. Like, I love what Danny's doing. I love the strategy and the aggressiveness and the deals he's put together. I think he's done a phenomenal job. I just think this deadline, there's a lot at stake. And my only, anxiety, hesitation, concern, whatever word you want to use around Danny Ainge, is that he will get too greedy. I think there is a part of Danny that wants to get like the absolute, like every last drop out of that, out of that squeeze, if you will, every last ounce of value out of that trade. And while I love that, I think you got to know your limits and your lines. You got to know the way to push the envelope without going too far. And so this whole thing about, Jordan Clarkson, the asking price of Jordan Clarkson being 2 first-round picks, I'm hoping that that's like the 9 days out from the deadline price, and that price will come down to 1, a first and a second, or a first and a bench player, or, like some flexibility comes into that. But my single biggest concern is just waiting too long to make these deals. Like, I agree with you completely. This Crowder-Milwaukee situation, you got to be in on that. This like the rumor mill, not that there's any necessarily credence, but this whole thing about the Bulls and Atlanta and like some of these teams that, like the Clippers, that you hear about on the regular, like you have to get in on some of this stuff, because making a deal here or there isn't a great deadline.
Yeah, but I also think when you talk about overvaluing a guy, the Bulls wanting 2 first-round picks for Alex Caruso is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I, as you know on this show, I mean, he's a punchline. I mean, I love the guy. You're not giving up 2 first-round picks for a role player. And that's why, like, the Bulls are a great example. I don't know that they have an appetite to completely remake that roster, because they have the ability to trade again. Ayo Dosunmu and Patrick Williams are available. Alex Caruso's available. I think certainly Nikola Vucevic is available. I think they would like to trade Zach LaVine. I mean, there's been a lot more momentum towards that, but I think there are a lot of deals that have to happen for that deal to happen. You know, I look at Miami. Miami's got to find a three-point shooter. Has to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you look around the league, there are a lot of teams that need Malik Beasley. There are a lot of teams, you know, you can look at Atlanta, you can look at Miami, you can look at Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee needs defensive toughness. I think Milwaukee needs three-point shooting. You look at the effort that Giannis is having to put out. His 34 points last night were hard-earned 34 points. I think they need somebody that can contribute from the perimeter. I don't know, is Jay Crowder that guy still? I have no idea. What kind of shape is Jay Crowder in? I would think he's in elite shape because he just hasn't played basketball. So he's probably physically ready, but he's going to have to work his way back into a rotation regularly.
Yeah.
But what are you giving up if you're Milwaukee to get Jay Crowder? And if you're the Suns, are you going to have to part with draft capital to make that deal happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I can also tell you that there are guys like Jared Vanderbilt that Phoenix would very much like to add to their roster. That's a deal. I continue to point to teams like Phoenix and Dallas. Those are dance partners for the Jazz. Absolutely, those are dance partners for the Jazz. I don't know that Dallas has attractive draft capital. Phoenix absolutely does.
Yeah.
Right? I think guys like Malik Beasley to New Orleans makes a lot of sense. New Orleans and the Jazz have had conversations, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But I still maintain Dallas and Phoenix make a lot of sense for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
A lot of sense. So we're going to see here over the next couple of days, the trade market's going to kick off. And we're going to see, because you could see Rui Hachimura, by the way. I don't know how many people watched the Jazz or the Lakers and the Knicks last night. Rui Hachimura is having a massive impact on the Lakers. They only win that game because of Rui last night. Like his length defensively.
Yes.
The fact that Rui can defend out to the three-point line and has these incredibly long arms that just eat space, essentially. Like, I mean, he really has the ability to cover the three-point line and the backside help on in the paint. It's remarkable how much length that guy brings to their defense. And you look at their try-hard attitude on defense now with Anthony Davis, LeBron James and Anthony Davis double-teaming Julius Randle. Now, Tibbs is an idiot for calling that play at the end of regulation.
Facts.
But their doubling tells you just how committed to winning games LeBron and Anthony Davis are. LeBron James is selling out, and he's not being rewarded for it.
Yeah, and I think, watching that game last night, Rui being able to guard Julius at the three-point line.
Yeah.
I look at, again, for everything that Russell Westbrook is not, he is an incredibly prideful defender and stripped Julius twice on the block last night when Julius thought he was just going to out-physical him. So, the Lakers the Lakers are working on that thing, and again, I'm just going to keep saying, it's all good until Anthony Davis randomly sprains his ankle again or gets hurt. And I just think that's the reality of their situation. I think when AD is healthy and you've got Austin Reeves coming back, yeah, you're a playoff team. You are. But you can't count on Anthony Davis. You don't know if you're going to get him for 5 games or 50 games. You don't know. And that's the really tough part. And that's where I feel for LeBron. And this whole thing with Jeannie the other day talking about how, that it's on LeBron's shoulders to bear the weight of winning games. Like, I would love for Jeannie Buss to just simply say, hey, yes, with all these injuries, it's on Bron. But at the same time, we're going to do everything we can do at the trade deadline to build this roster. I just would love to hear her say that a bit. I'd love to hear some leadership come out of the front office a little bit here instead of just talking about, well, we got Bron and he's carrying the load. Yeah, but what could you have if you'd help Bron? If you would make some trades and move on from those picks and do some things. That's what I want out of Lakerland.
I think they are a very compelling team right now. I think they are incredibly compelling. And I also wonder, the other team in that game last night, the Knicks, they have deals to be made. I mean, they're underutilizing McBride at this point, I think. He's one of the guys I'd be looking at. Obi Toppin is just – Obi Toppin's not a guy, and this is just my opinion. I don't know what you think of Obi. Obi Toppin's not a guy that you can play 25 minutes a night.
No, he needs to go to a Utah Jazz or like an organization that has room for development, that has time on the floor for him to develop, because he can shoot the corner three a little bit, and because he's 6'10", he can guard bigs, and he has the athleticism to do a little bit of perimeter defending. So he has value, but he's raw. He is what are they saying? Uncut, gem, if you will. He is somebody who has the body and has the athleticism, but has nothing in the bag. That's the problem, So to me, it's like he's got to get to a situation where he is required and asked and developed to do more than just dunk.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he needs.
Yeah, I think I am not. Yeah, the Knicks are going to be really interesting. Let's get some of your comments in here. James Knight says Walker Kessler is very limited offensive, much like Rudy. Let's hope he develops. I actually don't agree with that. I think that Walker Kessler is far more flexible offensively. I don't know that you can throw him the ball in the post, but he can at least move a little bit. Rudy Gobert just is not athletic. I mean, the guy is a rim runner and a screen setter. Like Walker Kessler can actually get to the rim from the elbow. He's a guy that you can count on him to rebound and finish. And he's actually a decent shooter, and I think he's got the ability to be a shooter. I think he's a much better offensive player already than Rudy ever was.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. Hun2 says, if the Jazz are around hard cap, why would they offer JC good money and go over the cap? It doesn't make any sense. Well, the other issue is that your salary is really guard heavy. I mean, you're paying a lot to your guards. Like if you look at their guards, if you look at their salary cap for next year, I mean, you're paying your top salaries. Now, Mike Conley is only partially guaranteed, but his number's $24.3 million next year, right? Colin Sexton's at 17.3. Malik Beasley's at 16 on a club option.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson's at 14, but he's gonna opt out of that. But you see what I mean? Like a lot of your cap is tied to guards. Like Talon Horton-Tucker is a guy that you should trade. He's on a player option at $10.26 million, but that bumps up $1 million next year to $11 million.
Yeah.
You should trade that guy. You look at, like what are you going to do? What are you going to do with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a restricted free agent next year? Like the year that you're free is 24-25 because you only have Colin Sexton at 18.1. Lauri Markkanen's on a partially guaranteed deal. That's it. Like you have a lot of flexibility. You go from $136 million next year to $43 million in 24-25.
So I'm saying the timeline is 3 years, guys. That's the timeline. Like that is absolutely, positively the timeline.
I would expect in 23-24 that you're going to look dramatically different and you're going to be far more competitive.
Yeah.
But that's why this trade deadline is so important, because I think they would like to compete at a high level next year. I think the Jazz know that they're not going to be in a position, almost no matter what they do, to compete for a conference final. But there's no reason you can't be the Sacramento Kings next year. You're going to have to maneuver your way into that kind of roster, but there's no reason that you can't play faster and be a better defensive team than you. You're terrible defensively.
Yeah.
And awful. A lot of it is that you're guard heavy. You need a power forward. You need forwards that can rebound and transition.
Yeah.
You need guys that give you more roster flexibility because you are financially strapped by your guards right now. And you got to change that, in my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway,
100%.
And I think the nice thing is that you're going to have a situation where Walker Kessler is going to be a $3 million player for you.
Like he's going to outplay that value quick.
I mean, that's why guys like Ochai are so important. Ochai Agbaji is a $4 million player. You can afford that. That's why a guy like a Jared Vanderbilt is so impactful in trades, because I think next year he's $4.6 million next year.
Yeah.
Right? Like you think about some of those numbers.
Yes.
Right? Like you can move those numbers. Like they have a lot of pieces on this roster that they can trade that are in demand. Brett Burnett says, Clarkson, we can get a 4-year, $80 million, and I know this because Monty thinks it's too high. I think 4 years and $80 million for this team on Jordan Clarkson is suicide.
Yeah.
I
just don't understand it.
It's
I
just
don't,
such
I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely one of the worst decisions this franchise could make. If you are going to, you're making the Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert mistakes over and over again. And first of all, I don't understand the love for his game. He's not, in my mind, a championship caliber player.
Yeah.
He's a guy that sells jerseys and moves popcorn because people like to come and watch him play. He plays a very fan-friendly style of game.
Yeah.
But anybody that wants to pay Jordan Clarkson $4 and $80 is just, I don't know what you're thinking. Yusuf says Sexton has a lot to offer. Well, he's going to have to prove that. You're going to have to prove that because I personally haven't seen that. That's my opinion. Ken Williams says, let's put it this way. We will find out if the Jazz make moves if they want to make the playoffs to get better. I would be concerned about the playoffs next season. I don't care if they make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
From a building, hey, I want to win 3 championships in 5 years. That's my mindset. I don't care if they make the playoffs this year. Yeah. That has no impact on it in my mind. James Knight says, has Ainge shown a willingness to bring down the asking price in the past?
I think Danny has shown a willingness to pipe other organizations. That's what I think Danny's done. And I think Danny has built a reputation. I think Danny is infamous in NBA GM circles. And I think that there is a healthy respect for not getting anged, as some have put it.
Anged.
Yeah, let's not get anged. So has he shown a willingness, James? I mean, no, not necessarily. But, I'm also not saying he wouldn't bring the price down. What I'm saying is that Danny wants to make the deal Danny wants to make, not what Buddy in Minnesota wants to make, which is why we're all sitting here talking about Walker Kessler, because Walker Kessler wasn't part of the original Minnesota Rudy deal.
Yeah, I think Danny Ainge makes trades that he can make, and if he doesn't like it, he's not going to do it. Danny doesn't lose deals very often.
Yeah.
And that's why honest to goodness, I think he was sending selfies of himself flipping off the camera to Rob Pelinka and the Lakers on Bojan Bogdanovic.
Mm-hmm.
Facial recognition.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm telling you, though, that you can't get, like, I love the conversation around Danny. Hey, this guy's made several great deals, and Bojan deal aside, like the Royce O'Neal deal, the Don and Rudy deals, like those were good deals. But that's why I keep saying my hesitation or my anxiety or my concern is Danny is lethal. And when you start making a bunch of deals that you clearly fleeced other organizations on, GMs take note of that, man. No pun intended. Like, they notice when that happens. So it's like, okay, you have to find that middle ground. You have to find that, hey, we're going to push it this far, and then we'll pull back and we'll get the deal done.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's really interesting to me that you are at risk when how do I say this? You are at risk when you deal with Danny Ainge. GMs know that. I think we were first to report that there were GMs are intimidated by dealing with Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
And that's been going on for years. That's not something new. And I think when you look at what they have now, I think Danny Ainge is going to, if he adds another pick here, I mean, if he adds another first-round pick this year, it will just be stunning. I mean, it would be stunning if he added another first-round pick. Like, I can't even... Yeah, it's amazing. Teddy said, I sent you a message on Instagram, Monty. I agree. I wouldn't pay JC that money. Not for this team. Somebody will.
Teddy, are you sending classified material?
No, he sent me a a comment. I don't know. There is a viewer of this show who I can't do it with this particular viewer. Like I just can't, the illogical thinking.
The Jazz are burning to the ground. It's over.
Yeah.
That's what this guy says all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, and listen, on the Jordan Clarkson thing, what I think is very interesting is that Jordan Clarkson has never said, "Oh, I want to be in Utah. This is where I want to be." He's never said that. And this particular person just won't get off of it. Oh, well, him and his agent have already said, they've never said that. Find me the place where Jordan Clarkson has said, I want to stay with the Jazz. I want to be here. Has he said he likes living here? He has. Has he said he likes playing for the Jazz? He has. Has he ever said, I want to be here? He has not. Because again, I will say what we had first on this show, and now pretty much everybody has confirmed. Jordan Clarkson has said he would like to be traded to a contender. He understands why he will not sign an extension here. Because they cannot offer him the money that other teams and he will make in the summer.
Yeah.
But not one time ever. And by the way, I've spoken to Jordan's representation. They have never said that they want to stay here.
Yeah.
He's never said he wants to leave. But he's never come out and said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be a Jazz man. I want to be." He's never said that.
Yeah.
He has never said that. So for the people that are saying that, I don't know where you're getting that. But what we tend to do when we talk Jazz is, oh, well, he says he wants to be here. Well, did he say that? No, but he has never said that. He has never said that. So, Teddy, I don't know what this comment is you sent me, and if you'd like to clarify, please do. Because this particular guy is like, he says, JC is most likely to be here. More than likely you don't get rid of what's working. Jordan Clarkson doesn't work in the long term. If you want to pay him, and most people think he's going to get a 3-year deal. I don't know any organization that's willing to go to a 4th year on Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
You're not paying a 35-year-old Jordan Clarkson $24 million a year.
Yeah.
That's crazy money. The issue is that if you pay Jordan Clarkson, and let's just leave it at $20 million. It's easy math.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the Utah Jazz and you pay Jordan Clarkson $60 million for the next 3 seasons, and he's put up numbers as a starter that some of them are career lows. Like if you look at Jordan's numbers and you look at his field goal percentage, he's shooting 44% from the floor. He's playing a career high 32 and a half minutes a game. Shooting 45%, call it, round it up. Shooting 35% from 3. And he's shooting 4 threes a game now. He's turning the ball over almost 2-to-1 at a career high. 3 turnovers a game. Like, the numbers don't add up to him being a starter. Jordan Clarkson's not a starter in this league.
Yeah.
He is a role player. He is a 6th man. He is a bucket getter. I'm not paying that guy $60 million.
It's almost as if people have forgotten that this guy played in Cleveland and Los Angeles. It's almost as if Jazz fans think that the Jazz are his first organization or something.
The LA Lakers gave him a chance to start. It did not work out. He played 79 games as a starter and turned the ball over 1.7 times a game in 2015, 2016. This year, he started all 51 games, and he's turned the ball over 3 times a game. Dude, the numbers are going in the wrong direction. By the way, he's averaging 21 points a game. So you're telling me this is a guy who's in his career averages 27 minutes a game. He's averaging 32 and a half minutes a game this year, and he's only scoring 20 points a game.
Yeah.
And he's turning the ball over 3 times a game. and he's not getting blocks or steals. Now he is giving you 4 assists a game, but he's giving you 4 rebounds a game. Like, these numbers are not spectacular. So I understand it's a popularity contest. I understand that the Filipino community loves Jordan Clarkson. Totally get that. That doesn't mean you pay the guy $60 million. You don't pay that guy. Do you really think if he goes, pick your contender, Miami, do you think he goes to Miami and starts? The Lakers. Do you think he goes to the Lakers and starts?
No.
Do you think he goes to the Knicks, who would like Jordan Clarkson? Who is he starting over on the Knicks? Do you think Cleveland, who would like to have Jordan Clarkson, does Cleveland start over either of their guards? Certainly not Donnie.
No.
Come on. Like, why can you not be honest about Jordan Clarkson? He is a good bench contributor. He's not a guy you want starting.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I hate him. Doesn't mean he sucks. He's not a guy you want starting.
Sucks. You said he sucks and you hate him.
You just don't, like, he's a good player. He's a 6th man of the year player. He's a phenomenal talent. I'm not paying him 3 years and $60 million in the situation where the Utah Jazz are. That's not a smart basketball decision. And to who, I can't remember, Brent or whoever was saying, give him 4 years and $80 million. That's how you don't become, that's an Oklahoma City thing.
Yeah.
Go extend Lou Dort. Give him all that money. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're not going to win with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Teddy said, to clarify, I was agreeing with you on your members only video. I thought it was hilarious that he would reply to me with what he did. Like, you just quickly learn in our business,
Yeah.
there are just some fans you don't reply to. And there just are. Like, there's just no way to do that. Hall of Fame says, I understand the JC thing, but if we can deal JC on a friendly deal, then he may be a good 6th man in the Jazz for 3 years. If you want to, what I would do if you're really this married to Jordan Clarkson, trade him now and try to re-sign him back in the summer. The problem is somebody in the summer is going to offer him, the number I keep hearing is 22 to 24 million bucks.
Can I ask why we're so married to Jordan Clarkson? Is it just an emotional thing? Like, and again, I'm not saying he sucks, but what is the affinity?
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't know. Brent Burnett, who is a homer for Clarkson, says JC has the numbers and the games to justify 4 years and $80 million on this team. He has do you understand? Do you know how old Jordan Clarkson is? Jordan Clarkson is going to be 31 at the start of next season. So you're willing to pay a 35-year-old Jordan Clarkson $20 million. And by the way, it'll be far more than $20 million a year. I think it'll be 22 to 24. Use him or do a sign-in trade. You can't do a sign-in trade. He's not eligible. Clarkson earned it. No, he earned what? What did he earn? This is what I don't get. This is the fandom that I don't understand. You're trying to build a franchise to win a championship, and you're paying guys who earned it. Donovan Mitchell earned his extension. On some level, Rudy Gobert earned his extension. Not $41 million a year. He earned his extension. Jordan Clarkson is a role player. You don't overpay role players in this league.
Where was JC in the playoffs?
You don't overpay role players. You don't do that. I mean, he is, man, Jordan Clarkson is not a starter. You don't overpay role players. And by the way, again, to your point, Quinn Snyder didn't want him on the floor in the playoffs at the end of games. He was never on the floor in clutch time. Because what does he do? What we've seen him do all year long. Dribble into a double team on the wing, get trapped, and the game's over. You never even get a shot to the rim. Get into the paint, get in the air. Oh, man, throw the ball out of bounds.
Yeah.
We see that routinely from this guy. And is he a bucket getter? Yes. Is he a really good three-point shooter? By percentage, he's average at 35%. But when he's hot, there's nobody better. But that's why he's a 6th man, because he's not often hot. we've gone over this.
Yeah.
We've gone over this
Yeah.
1,000 times. San Diego State says they love JC's long flowing braids. Apparently. The guy just isn't a franchise level player, and you want to pay him franchise level money.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing.
Now, that's just not the way to go here, Karen.
I'm not willing to do that. Like, if you look at the best teams, like who do you think is the best team in the NBA right now? Boston Celtics.
Boston.
Who are the Boston Celtics? Who are the Boston Celtics paying $20 million a year to?
What's Grant Williams getting paid?
Grant Williams is getting paid $4.3 million.
Okay, what's Al Horford getting paid?
Al Horford's making $26.5 million.
Okay, why is Al Horford getting paid? Well, because Al Horford's done some things in the league. He's shown he's a proven playoff contributor. Again, no, I didn't say he's this amazing player, right? Let's not overreact. But what does Al Horford do? He comes in and knows his role. Hey, play defense and then stand in the corner and make the corner three. That's all you got to do.
Malcolm Brogdon is probably their better example.
Yeah, Brogdon. There you go.
The best team in the NBA is paying Marcus Smart $17 million, but they're paying Malcolm Brogdon $22.6 million, and arguably he is the best signing of the offseason. And he's making $22.6 million. Who would you rather have, Malcolm Brogdon or Jordan Clarkson?
The hell out of here with that.
I'm taking Malcolm Brogdon. He's a point guard. He is...
Doesn't turn it over.
Like, he's a guy that when you look at him...
Because that's the other thing, too, with Clarkson. Like, I love the guy. In the heat of the game and the flow of the game, when Clarkson gets it going, it's really fun. But if we're really truth-telling on the guy, he doesn't play great defense. He doesn't, like, it's not like Jordan. Like, watching Donovan Mitchell go against Jordan Clarkson.
Wait.
Like,
Malcolm Brogdon's making $22.6 million, and he's hitting 45% of his threes, goddammit. And if you look, he's turning the ball over 1.5 times a game. Jordan is turning the ball over twice that much, shoots 10 points less from three, and you want to pay him what Malcolm Brogdon's making.
You have to be nice to stupid people.
Fuck out of here with that. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
For such a smart person, you really are
What are you
lost,
talking
aren't
about? Like, we can play this goose.
you know
What
who?
are you talking about?
Pull up J.R. Smith last year in Cleveland. J.R. Smith. Because this is J.R. Smith, right, is very much up the Jordan Clarkson player alley.
Oh my God.
Turns it over, takes too many shots, does some things you don't like. But this guy is all world on defense. And what does his offensive numbers look like? Like, who is
His
this
last
guy?
year in Cleveland was 2017, where he played 80 games.
Yeah.
Shot 38% from three.
Okay. So similar-ish.
Three rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 1 turnover a game, and he gave you 9 points a game. And you look at his career earnings and what he made in 2018, I don't know that it matters. He made $14.7 million. What is Jordan Clarkson making right now?
You're telling me Jordan Clarkson deserved $24 million, hasn't won a damn thing, and this guy is a guy who Bron wanted on his team, made several big shots, and I agree, not skipping over the fact, the whole clock management thing, didn't want to give it to LeBron, fell apart. I totally agree, that happened, but at least this guy I know is there in the championship game. Come on, dude. Anyway,
I'm amazed by, oh my God, no.
I don't want to bag on JC too much. I just am not here for 22 to 24 million a year for JC for the Jazz. Let Dallas pay him that. Let Miami take on a bad contract. Like, let those teams do that.
God, do you understand that most teams don't have a $20 million guard? Donovan Mitchell on Cleveland is the only $20 million guard.
What is Darius Garland getting?
Darius Garland's making $8.9 million.
Rookie contract, so I guess
right.
understand that,
if you look at
what Reggie Jackson, what does Reggie Jackson make?
You look
Perfect
at the Clippers.
example.
You look at the Clippers.
Yeah.
They have 0 $20 million players. They have a $40 million Paul George, a $40 million Kawhi. Norman Powell's making 16. Kennard's making 14. Reggie Jackson's making 11.2.
Reggie Jackson's making $11 million a year. Would you mind just looking at Reggie Jackson's stats just real quick?
Do you guys understand the money that you're trying to give to Jordan Clarkson at $20 million a year? Reggie Jackson's played 48 games, averages 26 minutes a game, puts up 11 points a game. Shoots 35%, so similar to Jordan.
Similar to Jordan.
Turns it over twice a game.
So still less than Jordan.
Yeah.
Like,
do you understand the money you're trying to pay Jordan Clarkson?
Dude, 20 is like, bro, like, what are you doing?
And this is what I'm trying to educate people on.
Educate.
The $20 million player in Jordan's slot is very, very rare.
Look at me.
I mean, I can't think of a role player because he's a sixth man. I don't look at him as a starter. He's not a starting two.
He's not. He's not.
He's a sixth man. I can't think of another sixth man that is making the bread that you're trying to pay Jordan Clarkson.
What about
at
Lou
the
Williams?
numbers?
Did Lou Williams ever get $20 million a year?
He
on
did,
a 1 year deal.
I believe he did. He got paid by Atlanta and the Clippers.
Lou Williams is one of the best six men the league's ever seen, right? Like
Lou Williams never made $20 million. Lou Williams' total career was $80 million. His highest paid season was $7.5 million, $8 million by the Clippers. That's the most money he ever made.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that was 2020, but I can't think of a guy like I'm trying to think of a player that is making the money that you're trying to pay Clarkson. I can't think of that guy. Like, who's a two guard on, like, Memphis? They're just younger players, so I don't know. What about, like, what do you want to pay Tyler Hero? Because there's Clarkson and Hero similar.
Yeah.
Right. Tyler Hero's making $5.7 million. What's his extension? Yeah, he's making $5.7 million. In 2022, Hero earned a base salary. I mean, like, what do you guys want to pay this dude for? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, Tyler Hero is going to start making 27, 29, 31, and 33. Okay, but Tyler Hero's numbers, he averages 20 points a game. He turns the ball over 2.45 times a game. And he shoots 37% from the floor.
Uh-huh.
So you want to pay Jordan Clark, because that's what he's going to get. Now, by the way, Tyler Hero is also 23 years old. You want to pay a 31-year-old Jordan Clarkson that kind of money, because those are similar numbers. They're not dissimilar numbers. You want to pay him that kind of money. I can't see doing that, man. I don't know. I don't want to belabor the point anymore. I just
the best example of a guy who's been a six man is Eric Gordon in Houston. He is the only guy that I can find that's anywhere near 20 a year. And he was making, I think, 17 when he won sixth man of the year in 16-17 for the Rockets. Like, yeah, it's just 20 is excessive, dude.
$20 million is a lot for Jordan Clarkson. You don't win a championship paying him that money. That's all I'll say. You know, I mean, what you want to compare him to Davis Bertans? No. Why? They're different players. Nice Moneyball analysis, Monty and Jake. Well, I'm not trying to be Moneyball guy. I'm looking at the way the best teams in the NBA are built, and you don't pay role players $20 million.
I'm not paying Ferrari money for an average car. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Jamal Crawford is known as the greatest six man ever. Never made more than $13 million a year.
Totally agree. Jamal Crawford. Perfect example.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, perfect example.
RR says 2021 Sexton played 60 games, 24.3, 47.5 from the field, 37 from three. Sexton's 24. He's the same player. He is the same player.
Yeah.
See, that's the other argument is Jordan Clarkson or Colin Sexton.
Well,
which one do you want?
Jazz fans going to tell you JC, but numbers tell you Sexton's
I
the same
think
guy
I want
on a
to see
team-friendly deal.
Yeah, I want to see what Colin Sexton is next season.
Yeah.
Because this is a season he's coming back from injury. He's just trying to find his game again. He's trying to learn a new system. Will Hardy's in his ass. Like, I just need to know, like, well, yeah, he has been, though. Like, I just need to know who Colin Sexton is.
Oh, man.
Right?
Dude.
Colin Sexton's a guy I want to see in Chris Brickley's gym over the summer.
Facts.
Like, go into the Black Ops games. Like, go play ball. I'm going to do that. Like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. And I think that you have to, because of their age, and again, I think age is a critical number. 31-year-old guards don't make $24 million a year.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to pay him. Somebody will pay Jordan
Not
Clarkson.
the Utah Jazz. Can't do it. And if Ryan wants to do that, I will call that a mistake all day because I think that's exactly what it is.
I agree
By
with
the
that.
way, has Ryan Smith replied yet?
I haven't checked my DMs, but I don't have to check them to tell you he hasn't. He has not replied.
Yeah. Big shocker.
He is not.
Yeah. Shocker.
And
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
I'll reach out to a couple of Jazz people. I'll reach out to PR. I'll go through
Wonder
the
if we
proper
can even
channels.
get a comment.
I'll go through the
Like-
back channels. We'll see. Oof. What happened here? Look at this story. Eagles' Josh Sills indicted on rape and kidnapping charges days before the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yowzer. According to prosecutors in Ohio, the charges stem from an incident that happened in 2019. Officials allege that Sills, a rookie reserve lineman with the Eagles, engaged in sexual activity that was not consensual and held a victim against her will. Well, that's not good. He has to appear on February 16th, right after the Super Bowl.
Well, at least he'll still get to play in the Super Bowl. I mean,
I don't know. Well, I don't think so. You can't bring that guy along. That is TMZ.com with the Twitter alert there. Yeah, that's not good. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles.
What a show. Damn.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Wow, it's 9:00.
Yeah. Yeah.
This hour of the Showgrum was brought to you by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza, I'm telling you, use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. And you should, as always, tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. But, man, I'm telling you that those marinara meatballs are amazing. I owe Teddy Wayman a pizza, by the way.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I still
We just
do.
haven't seen him.
I haven't
need to
seen
see him,
Teddy.
yeah. We haven't seen him.
Although the illustrious Wayman Brothers crew is coming to the crib next Thursday, trade deadline day, to have a look at my shower floor. So gotta love that. But yeah, if you're having pizza, it's a Wednesday night. Every night's Papa Murphy's Pizza night. Make sure you check out the marinara meatballs.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do meatballs and marinara.
Papa Murphy's does meatballs?
Oh, I think you mean I do the meatballs and marinara?
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it?
How do we do it? Oh, well, we do it with savory ground beef
Covered in tangy marinara. That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
And don't forget the meatballs.
Order now at papamurphys.com.